Hi again guys, and welcome to, of course, another speed tune for Forza Horizon 4, this time for one of the new free vehicles, the Mitsubishi pack, of course, 7 new cars, and I'll probably cover a couple of them at least today and tomorrow, maybe the next day as well. But kicking off, first of all, we've got the Mitsubishi Evo 10. I chose to start with this one because it's probably going to be the most popular car of the pack. I think I might do the GTO tomorrow. Now, as far as the upgrades go, if you've checked out my tunes before, especially with stuff like JDM, you should already know I'm not a purist when it comes to these tunes. It does not have the standard engine, so if that is an absolute no-no for you, then of course don't use this tune. This is purely to make the car as powerful and as fast and as good an all-rounder as it can be, and part of that is to swap the engine to a V8. If you could get more power out of the standard engine, I'd have no problem with leaving it in there. But as far as the game goes, that's just the way it is. Now, as far as the visual upgrades go, you've got a lot of options. You've got the body kits, the wings, the rims, the hood. That's all down to you, of course. I've fitted some myself, kind of a time attack look to it. And if you get it from my storefront, which you can, this exact tune is on there, just use my gamer tag or the keywords down in the description, then it will have this exact spec. But as far as the upgrades, if you do it yourself, of course I'd recommend keeping all-wheel drive, swap it to the V8 engine with the turbo conversion, upgrade the power as far as you can, which is over 1,000 horsepower, of course drop the weight, fit all of your racing parts, brakes, suspension, transmission, diff, everything. Then as far as the tyres, of course that's down to you. You could fit racing tyres or you could fit drag tyres. Obviously drag tyres are not as good through corners, but you will get off the line even quicker. Now as far as the benchmark, as you can see, pretty good. 2.2 to 60, 4.6 to 100 is pretty impressive as well. 240 flat out. So it's not as quick as some of the other JDM cars in the game, but of course not. It's designed to be a rally car, in effect, for the street, so rally cars typically aren't designed for top-end speed anyway. As far as the gearbox, I'd recommend a final drive of 2.8, then individual gear ratios of 2.9, 2, 1.5, 1.19, 0.97 and 0.78. Alignment is neutral for the camber and the toe, 4 degrees of caster, anti-roll I've got on 30 for the front and the back, springs on 115 and 85 with, once again, the lowest ride height on the front and the rear, dampers on 12, 10, 6 and 5. I have converted the rear wing to the aftermarket one, but it doesn't matter because you can't adjust the downforce anyway. And as I always say, I would not recommend the racing wings because they're good for handling, but they're not good for straight line speed. And as far as the diff, I've got 100%, as you can see, for both acceleration and decel. And as far as the center split, it varies, really, depending on what you want. I've got 70% because that's pretty good for all round. If you want it to be more nimble at higher speeds and at lower speeds, then maybe put it up to 75 or even 80, but you won't necessarily be quite as quick off the line or have quite as much traction off-road. So as I said, it's down to you. But of course, all that remains is, as always, to put it in a race to see if it can actually go that fast. Now, of course, for top-end speed, it's not going to take on like a Koenigsegg or a Bugatti or a McLaren necessarily anytime soon, but for an Evo against stuff like Subarus, other Evos, other JDM cars in general, it's certainly no slouch. It's nice to have Mitsubishi back. They are hugely popular and for good reason, and as you can see from the race itself, you can actually go beyond the benchmark. The benchmark is just under 240, and you see me do, what, 241 even in this race, so it's definitely got a ton of potential. It's more than fast enough for most circumstances, and overall, if you decide to use the tune, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. Of course, beat your friends online with it, and if you want to check out my other tunes, I've got hundreds on my storefront in the game, and of course tons here on YouTube as well, all of which you can see by clicking the playlist here on screen. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.